I haven't figured it out yet.
It's all lies. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Book of One Thinking of Lies. Hello, Book of Boba Fett Aftershow here on JLJ Media. I'm one of your hosts, James Lloyd Jr. I'm here with Jamie's Angels, John, and Frank. Hello, you guys.
Hello.
Yeah, I love it. Also, okay, I'm setting up the chat room. There's like 10 things I have to do before I even started. So that's all there. So now we're on. Okay, chat room's open. If you want to talk to us, we're going to talk to you about all kinds of stuff, even some Boba Fett stuff that I saw.
Say what?
I know. Just like the show. Very surprising. Frank will do the nod later, and life will be beautiful.
That's right.
Exactly. We'll do later. So as I begin to do this, of course, this show can be found on any streaming service platform. Also on YouTube, my JLJ Media channel. Do that. Other ones, I have Darth Vader's Your Father, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Mandalorian, all up and running. So just check them all out. What's going on there? Okay. The first thing, gentlemen, we're going to talk about today was on the talk. Today, Rosario Dawson was on. She had like 3 projects to promote. It was kind of crazy. But she promoted and showed some backstage footage of her getting ready as Ahsoka. She said it takes 3 hours. It took 3 hours to do the makeup originally. They got it down to 1 hour 47. That's with the modules and everything. It's all this stuff. And again, they showed a stop motion.
A
stop motion.
Stop motion, but
time lapse. Time lapse.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. I'm thinking of like Gumby or whatever. Stop motion back in the day. Time lapse when they were doing it. It was very cool to see that. I forgot that Rosario Dawson's in her 40s. So that's kind of amazing. She looks amazing because she's also Puerto Rican like me. Hey, Puerto Rico sister. Love you. But she is in her 40s. And she said one of the things that she is having the most interesting part about is the martial arts. She's like, I'm not as I used to be, but she's enjoying it. And she told the fans that she started out as fan art, of course. Boss Logic posted it. She saw it that day. They started tweeting and talking. Dave and them contacted her. And 2 or 3 years later said, hey, we're going to go on a show called Mandalorian. We just did the first season. Also, she started using the hashtag Ahsoka Lives because she was on an animated series. There's a whole thing about that. But that was really great. So they're filming it right now. So any thoughts? All the stuff I just mentioned, any thoughts on this?
The one thing which I think I will see in other chats and comments about Ahsoka is just the griping about the translation of animation to live action. She's not screen accurate to the animated look of Ahsoka, so therefore this is a travesty. Like, oh man, there's just real life physics that you have to consider when you're bringing an animated character to life. There's just things that just look great in animation that just you can't physically wear, and also be able to do all the things that you need to do to have a performance as well in live action. So that's always frustrating, where people just will immediately dismiss the live action thing because it blew it. Right.
The Montrails aren't the exact length. She can't jump quite as high. It's like, it's not going to be the same. Animation to live action, it's not going to be the same. But at the end of the day, I think that Rosario Dawson was a great Ahsoka. I thought she looked great. I thought everything was great. And I think we're getting a little bit of that now. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the criticism of like the Grand Inquisitor coming up in Obi-Wan, right? Like, yes. He doesn't look exactly the same, but I'm excited to see a live action Grand Inquisitor, and it's going to be different, but I'm really excited for it. And I think it was the same thing with Ahsoka.
I'm going to ask you about this for a second before you answer, Fred. I want to ask you a thing. Why do you think, is it just people bitching, or don't they get that when you do that cartoon is cartoon and like life is life, like you can't always get it exact? I mean, I don't understand why people. I mean, I see it too. I'm just wondering, don't you guys get that? I mean, that's every movie ever that became live action. Every Disney film, every like, they're not exactly like the comics or animation. So,
yeah, Yeah, I felt like when I first saw the Obi-Wan trailer too, and I saw the Grand Inquisitor, I was like, okay. My first reaction was, huh, it looks a little different. doesn't look what I remember in the animated series. But at the same time, I was like, wait a minute, we're getting the Grand Inquisitor in live action. I cannot wait to see what a talented actor. Maybe he looks a little different, but I want to see a talented actor portray this in live action, and I'm super pumped that we're getting it in this series that I was already so hyped for. So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because like even with like Cad Bane, people complaining about like the head size, and then having to read articles where they're trying to then justify like, well, maybe it's because he's older and his species, they're just a little bit more like, guys, why? We don't need to justify, do we? Do we need to? Can we just enjoy the fact that it's Cad Bane in a live action performance and just be cool that we have that, rather than having to, justify so we can feel better about what we're watching, why the head might be slightly bigger on the live action version. Oh, come on, guys.
I mean, there are folks who will pick everything, obviously. We know this in soaps, and we know this in other things. Yes. They will do that. But I'm with you. I'm just like, I just almost feel like it's just a given that certain color palettes, certain things are created on screen. They can't be created in real life, or body shapes and that. I just think it's just, I don't know. I think maybe folks are used to, we have so much technology and stuff. Maybe they're thinking we should be able to do that. So I guess I don't know. They should be able to match it.
Yeah. But to go to like being in her Rosario being in her 40s and doing all the martial arts. I mean, there is something to see, like even the Matrix films, the original ones, phenomenal. And then this latest one, Matrix Resurrections, when you see God bless Keanu, I mean, I love him, but he also he wasn't what he was, and you can just see that it just it's tough. It's tough to keep doing that at a high level when you're older.
Yeah.
Getting older, I was just telling John, don't do it.
Yeah.
Not worth it. It's all a lie. They tell you it does not get easier.
Not everyone can be Liam Neeson playing Qui-Gon Jinn and then decades later being taken.
That's right.
Still have it. Not everyone can do that.
That's very true. I mean, Harrison Ford, at least forever, how much they edited around it too, or how much of it is him. I mean, he can still kind of sell it that that he can be physical.
That's so shady, Frank. I love it. They all edit around it. He is 700 years old. He is 700 years old. I mean, yeah.
Yes. But I mean, again, that is the one benefit of animation, is that, I mean, the characters can be, eternally agile and always be at the peak of their abilities, which is great. Yeah. It's just tough when you have, real world actors portraying characters you love and they can't quite deliver what that those characters have done before in another medium.
I think it's very cool that she's in her 40s. I think it's very cool she's Latino. Yeah. I think, why not? I think if she could do the job, that's then let's do it.
Well, I mean, and it fits for Ahsoka. I mean, at this time in the Star Wars chronology, I mean, she's not Snips anymore. I mean, right. She's been through a lot. She's done a lot, and she's grown older and wiser. So I feel like Rosario's a good fit for that.
Yeah, I agree, Frank. Yeah, I totally agree. I want to show people. I have something to show you guys. It's my latest shirt.
It's fantastic.
I got it. Wow, for like $8. Also at the 99
Is that first picture of Grogu? Is he drinking from the bowl of soup? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Love that.
It's stupid. And then I got this at Big Lots, a Boba Fett bag.
Nice.
With Jabba. Why is it on there?
Yeah.
99 cents I got this, or $1 I got this. I'm like, I had to get it.
All right. John, when James first showed me this earlier in the week, I said, like, wait, I commented on the Jabba thought as well and figured there should be something else. What would you put in place of Jabba on this bag?
Ooh, good question.
I'd put a Rancor.
Oh, hey, why not? I see why not.
I cannot disagree with that. That is an excellent thing.
What would you put?
I went with the low-hanging fruit of Han Solo and Carbonite. I did not go. I was not as shrewd and as a deep cut as you, John. I bow to you.
I put Jennifer Beals.
Yes.
And also, this I got this for $4.95 at Walgreens, which back in New York would be Dwayne Reed. It's Luke.
Oh,
Literally, actually, I mean, I was like, folks, it's literally Luke's. For $4, I was like, I'll take it.
There you go.
So he's gonna join my Darth Vader ones. I'm gonna have them act out each other, be like, Luke, I'm your father. No, I'm not. You're not. Yeah, that was a good time. So I got a Luke doll. I always wanted one, so now I got one.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
All right, so gentlemen, I'll throw out another question for both of you. You walk into your Dollar Tree, you walk into your Big Lots, you've only got, $2 in your pocket, and you go to the action figure aisle and you see there for $1.99 each, you've got Stephen Root's character from the Book of Boba Fett, you've got Jennifer Beals from the Book of Boba Fett, and you've got the one mod biker who's got the eyepiece from the Book of Boba Fett.
Frank's favorite.
Yes. Oh, you can only get one. Which one do you pick?
Do the action figures talk at all?
No,
or is it just
your no sound chips in these guys?
I was gonna say, if Jennifer Beals gives that monologue, then I would get.
Then
I'd get that. Then I'd get that one.
There you go.
But oh man,
can you say? Can you use it in a sentence? Just kidding. I feel okay. Oh shit! My seat made my seat drop. Okay, because I normally say Jennifer Beals. I'm thinking the guy with the eye. I wonder if he comes with accessory.
Right.
The eye accessory. This guy. I want all three, Frank. Is that fair? Okay.
I know it's tough.
Okay, John. I'm gonna make a decision. I'm gonna make a decision. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna say Jennifer Beals for the win.
All right, we're getting two for those. Is it a BOGO?
It's a BOGO. Buy one, get one free. Yes. I'll buy it for us, John. Get it for us. Hi, Haywood. Hi, Zan. Hi, sister. Hi, Kirsten. Hi, everybody.
Ooh, all right, gentlemen. Just to confirm this pick,
okay,
I'll throw one more in. You kind of rifle through the figures, and all the way in the back, you see one left. It's Danny Trejo as the Rancor trainer.
Oh, well, that's the win.
Wow.
Danny Trejo in Star Wars universe action figure. I'm taking that.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be the rarity. That's gonna be the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, Jennifer Beals.
Sorry, Jennifer. Once again, she's blown away. Yes. I'm going for that. Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Speaking of Luke, it was also revealed. This is actually Boba Fett news. Surprise, surprise. In chapter 6, that wasn't Luke's voice. It was, but it wasn't. It wasn't current Luke's voice. So originally, they went back to the original films, tried to cobble together voice stuff from him, and it was just the technology was not the great. They couldn't transfer it to today. So they used an app called Respeecher, and it took some stuff from audio games, audio books, video games from the 80s that he did. Now, mind you, Mark Hamill does a lot of voiceover work, ADR work stuff, so it's really interesting that he didn't use that. But they cobbled together that voice, made it younger. They call them, make them into models. They can adjust the model however they want. And so that was, so it was a younger Mark Hamill Luke voice that we heard in chapter 6. So that was very interesting. We have no documentary yet. No documentaries on the whole series, but I did read that story a couple days ago.
No, I mean, it is impressive what they can do with technology to kind of recapture, the youth of an actor, the sound of an actor. I mean, I guess that it goes into that really slippery slope of, that people are always worried about with actors that have since passed on. Like, well, what's going to stop them from doing Fred Astaire, dancing with the vacuum cleaner? So,
Frank, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
And John, too. Are your voices any different than, well, for you, John, it would be. You're like a child. But for you, Frank, and myself, 20 years ago, was your voice that much different?
I mean, I sounded sexier then.
You kidding me?
That's hard to believe.
You still sound so sultry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Got it.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it, Frank. I don't believe it. You have a face for radio. Come on.
Woo,
Yes.
baby.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it probably. I'm sure it did. Maybe.
I don't know what sounds younger means, because I don't feel like he sounded super old in like the movies. I mean, like I'm 53. I think I sound the same as I did when I was my sister's on here. Did I sound different 20 years ago, 30 years ago? I mean, I don't know, you two tell me. I don't think. I mean, as a kid, yeah. I mean, as a kid, yes. But I feel like I always had a deep voice. I always sounded like this, kind of.
Once you changed, you hit puberty. Oh,
and my balls drops. That was it, kids.
yeah.
Suddenly I went from ma'am to sir. That's what it was. In more ways than one.
But I mean, I'm not going to sit there and one thing I do like, because like for me, I would, if I had any sort of fame and cachet and any chances of being used in any sort of medium after my death and anything, I'd happily sign that away. Go ahead, use me, whatever you want to do.
Same here. Same here.
Whatever you want with me. But I do love about the advances in technology for that, though, is, I mean, you see it, I think, in the Ant-Man films, where they in the Michael Douglas scenes, where you could just do. It was cool to be able to go back into flashbacks in earlier parts of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and have like Michael Douglas look like he did in the 80s, and you're like, oh, holy cow, that is awesome. Yeah. And it's still with the current actor still doing his thing, but they're just able to use technology to kind of get him back to that look. I'm down for any and all of that. I feel like it opens up so many storytelling possibilities. I mean, they even saw, to however people might feel, to greater or lesser degree, at the end of the Mandalorian with Luke. However, it was still, you can't deny that it was just cool to see.
It was.
Young Luke.
I mean, it was very cool. It was very cool.
Yeah, just to think about where they could go, because I feel like the technology is already good enough that, like, I know there were some complaints about Luke in that last episode of The Mandalorian. It wasn't the cleanest, let's say, but like it looked great to me. It made me emotional, and I can't even imagine like a few years from now how much more improved the technology will get, to the point where like some of this stuff is just going to look so seamless. Like, you can really fill in any stories you want. You can bring back characters from the past, and it's just going to look and sound, and it's going to be great.
I agree with that.
And for me, I know people were like at the end of Rogue One, where you see Princess Leia, and you're like, people are like, well, what about that? Or in Rogue One, Moff Tarkin in there as well. They're like, I don't know. It's like, for me, yes, it might not be absolutely perfect, but the chance to get to see more of these characters, especially Tarkin, that we never got a chance to really see in anything else. I'm like, heck yes, I can easily forgive the technological flaws if it gives me a chance to be with that character a little longer.
I agree with that, Frank. I do agree with that. I can overlook some things. I mean, we watch soaps every day.
Yeah. I mean, the challenges are, I mean, like, you don't have Peter Cushing around to deliver the performance. So, I mean, that is the one difference, as opposed to having Mark Hamill, who can give you, the performance, or even back then, like, Carrie Fisher could have done stuff for Rogue One. So, I mean, it's when the original actor's around, I mean, it only makes it better. But still, I was still happy to see Tarkin show up in Rogue One.
Yeah. So I'm Matt in the chat room. The whole thing was, Sebastian Stan could have played Luke, and all. There's all these things that kept coming out of, like, just have someone else replay it. But I feel like, again, I'm an old person. Those original trilogy is what I grew up on. So seeing a digitized Luke come at the end of Mandalorian, that was amazing. It was emotional. It was amazing. Yes, maybe somebody else could have played. I mean, I don't know. It had more weight to it for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I felt like, me personally, I love Sebastian Stan as an actor. So like, and the idea of him playing Luke, I'm open to at some point. But if we were going to see Luke again on the screen in this way, like, having Mark Hamill do it just with effects and all that was very meaningful to me, even as a younger fan, let's say, like that, that was very meaningful to me, to have the Luke Skywalker showing up on screen, his story continuing. But I would be open to somebody else playing the role like Sebastian Stan in the future if there was some kind of project coming up that that it just made sense for. But as much of Mark Hamill that we can get, I want as much of that as possible. So
John, you would be for you. If there was a Luke series that came up, then you're like, okay, then we can get him to play young Luke in the series. You're like, that's fine.
I'd be open to it. I would hope that we'd at least get Mark Hamill's blessing first if he signs off on it. Because it's he is Luke. But I agree with you. It was so important and so meaningful to have him portray Luke, even if there's the de-aging and all that stuff. But, it was important to me to have him appear as Luke in The Mandalorian. But moving forward, if there was some kind of series or something like that where it made more sense for somebody like Sebastian Stan, who the fans have kind of been on board with, I'd be open to it.
Well, right now, he's killing it as Tommy Lee on the Pam and Tommy story. So he's killing it on that right now, actually. And you laugh. It's actually really good. It's much better than I thought it would be. It's on Hulu. Pam and Tommy. My friend Jennifer's in it. I know Pam Anderson, so that's why I watched it. It's actually, they both look like them. And it's actually much better than I thought. It'd be some like Lifetime knockoff thing. It's actually it goes into the psychology of the whole situation. So that's why I thought I'm saying like people should check it. It's something different in that time period. But everybody in chat room was like, no, like that Luke came at the end of Mandalorian. Everybody's agreed. That was emotional. See, Frank.
I mean, because I feel like I can say that I like both versions, both ways. For example, Doctor Who. I enjoy Doctor Who tremendously.
Me too.
And of course, so many of the earlier Doctors. One of the cool things about Doctor Who is that they can cross over with earlier versions of themselves. But which they did a lot in the 70s and 80s. But now here with a lot of those actors that have passed away, rather than having that opportunity closed off, I'm down for them recasting those roles. And they did that for the first Doctor for the Christmas special a couple years back. And I thought that was great to be able to see the first Doctor back again and another story with that character, even though it was recast, was so great. I really enjoyed that tremendously. So, while I love the technological aspect of being able to see the actors I've seen originate those roles look the way they did back when I first saw them is great. I am all for a recast to also give me what we need to.
Yeah.
Frank, I agree with that. I saw that. I agree with that. Yeah. I was a Tom Baker fan. That's what I grew up with. Was Tom Baker in the 70s. The scarf on Doctor Who. That was my big man. And then I got to the later ones. But yes, I agree with you. It worked. I remember that episode. It worked. Actually, it really worked. But see, I always wonder sometimes is it just the writing that meets the actor, that meets the context? Is it somebody's mentioning the crossover with Capaldi in the first Doctor was amazing. Yeah. I'm just wondering, was it all that? Was it just lightning in a bottle? I mean, I guess anybody can do it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those kind of...
I mean, I guess, depending on however you wanted to approach it, whether it was a recast or through technology, you're right. It still comes down to the story. If the story's not really there, all of it's not going to land as well. I mean, certainly, you could, if the story's almost there, and then the idea of just being able to see like a de-aged Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker, that might be enough to get you to kind of overlook some of your criticisms about the story, just because you got to see Luke. That was great. But, the ones that are really going to stick is when the story can meet the technology or the recasting, and you get just, as you said, James, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, sometimes I think sometimes just things come together. Oh man, I did not know you were a Whovian. Also, we love Doctor Who. Speaking of characters, another thing I watched this actually on was The View. I think it was The View or something, and then I read about it.
Oh boy, daytime is really giving you your sci-fi.
I'm shocked, Frank Moran. I know what's going on here. I'm getting all my Star Wars news the day before 12. It's crazy. Samuel L. Jackson, one of my favorite actors of all time. No one can cuss like him. Actually, a pitch for Mace Windu to come back to life in something. And apparently, he just did a film with Bryce Dallas Howard, and she was like, I love you. Let's talk to John and them. So he wants to come back. So he wants to come back to life. What do you guys think about Mace Windu coming back to life?
I feel like
He died at the end. At Revenge of the Sith is when he died. Just for folks who may not know, that's how he
John,
died.
are you against?
I am so torn on this. I'm so torn on this. I have thought about it so much. I really have. Because I love Mace Windu, and you kidding me? Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu coming back. Of course I want that. Of course I do. Of course I do.
We've broken John. We've broken John.
But I think it depends how it's done, because like there's certain things like, and like I've thought about this. Does bringing Mace Windu back to life lessen Anakin's decision at all? Right? He's standing there in Revenge of the Sith. He's got Mace Windu here. He's got the Emperor on the floor. He's choosing. Do I? You know, what choice do I make? And what happens? Mace Windu goes flying out the window. Does it lessen that at all? If here comes Samuel L. Jackson walking back through the door, like, hey everybody, I'm here. I made it. I'm still alive. You know, like I don't know. Like I don't know.
Or John, does it add to the story after he flew out the window? I mean, he landed somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does it like now we find out what happened afterwards? Like, does Anakin's whole thing still stay, but now he's getting an extra story?
Right. I guess, like I said, it would really depend a lot on what we see of Mace Windu after finding out that he survived this, you know, this whole ordeal. Because, you know, if he comes back and he does something great or sacrifices himself or this or that, you know, it could be a cool story. But like, what's he going to come back and do? You know, like we have nothing to go off of from here. I guess they have a lot to work with. I mean, they could do anything, I suppose. But I don't know.
You know, Bryce Dallas Howard directs episodes of The Mandalorian. That's why he was trying to get her.
Right.
They're thinking Mandalorian related. People in China said, bring back the purple lightsaber.
Well, I'm just wondering. So what's Mace been doing this whole time, right? He died at the end of Revenge of the Sith, or didn't die. And then the whole original trilogy happens, and then he just pops up in The Mandalorian. You know, like, I don't know.
My chat room, they all watch soaps. They're like, it happens in soaps all the time. You know, so I mean, it's very soapy. Frank, what do you think about this?
I mean, I can understand that. I mean, you know, that is the complicated thing is you've got, you know, your whole chronology of Star Wars. You know, did Mace pull a Yoda and just kind of went into exile for all these years as well? Or, you know, was he still kind of like an undercover Jedi doing his stuff as well? Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there are storytelling possibilities, and just I guess that's the tough thing, because the Jedi are so cool, and everybody loves the Jedi. And yet the time when, you know, I mean, after the order goes out and everybody gets wiped out for the most part, except for Obi-Wan and, I mean, Ahsoka, who's not really a Jedi at that point, and Yoda and Obi-Wan. It's just, I feel like it's kind of like, I mean, I equivalent to a comic book where Superman is the last son of Krypton. He's the only one that escaped. And then a little while longer, they said, hey, well, what if he had a cousin, Supergirl? And then, what about like if General Zod, he also escaped too? What if General Zod also had a few buddies with him as well? And then it just becomes a slippery slope where it's like you find like all these other people are going around. You're like, does it lose some of its specialness as a story point if then you start just adding more Jedis into the mix?
Right.
Especially for that in that period of time when they're all supposed to be either dead or the few that are alive are in hiding.
Yeah. Of course, like I said, I want to see Mace Windu. I would love to see Mace Windu again, but he's just such a cool character. And like between the prequels, the animated series and all that, like if you're going to bring him back, don't just bring him back for the sake of bringing him back because you think it's cool. Like it's got to make sense to me. Like I feel like, you know, he's got to do something meaningful that adds to the rest of this story. Like I don't know. It's difficult. I'm sure that if anybody can do it, it's Favreau and Filoni and Bryce Dallas Howard and all that, you know, but I don't know. I don't want to see Mace Windu come back and then I'm just like, why? Well, okay,
what if it's a prequel of some sort? What if it's a backstory?
My worry about that is, as much as I love Samuel L. Jackson, and he's great as Nick Fury, if you go and watch the original, the first Captain Marvel movie, where it's supposed to be back in the 90s, with Sam Jackson of the 90s, and you see him run, he is not Sam Jackson of the 90s when he's running. That is a Sam Jackson that is full of full passage of time since the 90s. And so it's tough, what are you gonna do like him as a prequel to kind of make him look like Mace Windu kind of right after episode 3? He's just not gonna be the same physically. He's not gonna be able to be as agile.
It just must be hard because Samuel L. Jackson is the most successful actor of all time, film actor of all time. His movies he's been in have been like worth 3 or 4 billion or whatever. So he's a big name.
Yeah.
So he can buy and sell us, Frank. He can buy and sell you 10 times over, right? So do you take that seriously and go, this major actor who is part of the Star Wars universe, yeah, his character's dead. But should we try to massage that somehow to get viewership and get? Whatever. It's Hollywood. I'm sure they're thinking about it on some level, right? Sure.
But also, I don't know. Because I guess you could say the same thing for him as Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
Big name, and yet Marvel has not gone crazy on Nick Fury in their films. He shows up here and there, but it's and he's going to have Secret Invasion miniseries coming up on Disney Plus that's going to focus around him. But in terms of, they haven't saturated the MCU with Nick Fury because it's Sam Jackson playing that role. So I feel like Star Wars is probably the same thing too, where it's like he came in, a cool actor wanted to do a Star Wars movie. That's awesome. We found a role that would fit for him. But I don't know if they would. I think Star Wars is fine enough. I don't think they're desperate where they're like we need people watching us. They're not at that point, I don't think.
I do, it's funny too. I have to remind myself that I'm talking about Mace Windu, but we did just watch a whole series where Boba Fett somehow survived a Sarlacc pit. So so I guess anything's possible. I just want it to be done well. I love that character too much. I love Sam Jackson too much. I don't want them to resurrect Mace Windu and it's just meaningless and stupid. I just want it to make sense. And I don't want it to lessen anything else in the story. I think that was a huge moment, right? Where Anakin runs in and it's Mace and the Emperor fighting, and Anakin decides, sorry, Mace, you're going out the window. I'm choosing the dark side. I just feel, I don't know. I don't want anything to be lessened, and I want everything to make sense, and I just want it to be cool because Mace Windu is very cool.
But I will also say too, I think that's another live action versus Clone Wars character for us, where it's cool with Sam Jackson in a live action Star Wars movie, but going back and rewatching those, especially episode 2, you're like, okay, he hasn't had much to do. So he definitely had more in the Clone Wars, but I still think there's stuff that you could do with that character. So it would be cool to see that character get a little bit more love. If they wanted to bring him back in a Disney Plus show.
Yeah. All right. So next talk is now the video games. There are two that I'm reading about. One is the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. They released a new featurette. It's like an hour or something. I was watching part of it. And apparently, it goes through not all 9 films. You do all this stuff. It's right, but it's also funny because it's Lego, obviously. Also really funny. Meanwhile, they just released this today. Fallen Order 2 is coming out, possibly. They're going to make a big announcement possibly in May, probably on May 4th, maybe. Who knows? Those of you guys who don't know what it's about, in 2019, Fallen Order 1 came out first. It's aspiring Jedi Cal Kestis is on a journey after the Order 66 wipes out all the Jedi. He's on this planet called Bracca, and he's hiding, and he goes on his adventures. So I'm thinking 2 is going to be a little more of that. So, and there's a Deadly Inquisitor, the second sister in that series. So I want to ask you both. When I was watching the featurette, it's really fascinating. I don't play any of the video games. But it seems like they have these stories within them too. Some of them are reimagining. Some of them are you make your own story. I don't know. Do you guys ever do any of the video games or follow any of the video games, or what do you feel about this kind of stuff?
John?
So I to be honest, the only video game system that I own is a Nintendo Switch. So I do not play. I haven't played many of these. Yeah. Right, I have not played many of these Star Wars games, except if I've played with like my nephews and stuff, because they've got every system under the sun. But like I've been getting like increasingly interested in some of these games, because like even the character you just mentioned, Cal Kestis, like it's making me want to invest in a new system to play some of these games, because I'm hearing Cal Kestis' name a lot and how people are wanting him in live action stuff. So like I'm very interested in some of these games. And I know the Lego game you were talking about, I was seeing some article before about how it looks like a bunch of actors are even coming in to, I guess, provide voiceovers and stuff like that too. So I really do want to get more into the gaming side of Star Wars.
It looks interesting.
I mean, certainly as somebody who played the earlier Star Wars Lego games, man, I love those. Those are great to play. So I'm all in for another to lose, several weekends just playing another Lego Star Wars. I'm all about it. I've not played a lot of the other ones outside of the Lego, other than like back in the day when they had on like the Nintendo 64, the Rogue Squadron and stuff like that, where it was that was cool. But I've always liked the idea of being able to control a Jedi with their lightsaber. Always seems awesome. But I've not played any of those games where I could be a Jedi. So maybe Fallen Order 2 is my time to get in on.
Frank, the last gaming system I had was a PlayStation, the first one. That's the last gaming system I had. So forget this PS5. I had to have 2, 3, or 4. So I had PlayStation 1 a long time ago. That's the last one I've had.
I mean, I've got my PlayStation 4, and I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. So and they did put out skins for Boba Fett, Fennec, and Chrysanthemum.
Oh,
so
they did.
Nice. Yes. Okay. So I mean, I've been playing as Chrysanthemum, running around, shooting people.
That's awesome.
Yes,
that's awesome.
I've got Boba Fett's ship. I've got Fennec's ship. Oh, I'm flying around. So that's great. It's great. But yes, but no lightsabers, no Jedi yet. I need to work on that.
That's so funny. I know this guy. It's like I want to see a regular story. Like, but these featurettes, these trailers, they're so good. I'm like watching them. Like, I mean, I know it's like $1 trillion business. I know how big gaming is, but to see what they put behind them, like, wow, this is like a real story. I want to like follow that. So I mean, but for you guys, are they canon to the rest of the stuff, or are they just on their own little?
I mean, yeah, I guess I think it all falls in. I think it's different than the books, where they're gonna get real. So I think those are more tied in. So, they could fit them all in if they wanted to.
That's just so funny. And so the Lego one's coming out April 5th. That's coming out next week.
Oh wow!
Now.
Well, all right, guys, I gotta go. Get
exactly. I mean, it's funny because Lego. Okay, first of all, Legos. Period. Because I have grandkids. I have young nieces and nephews. Legos are huge, and I remember when I was a kid, Legos were a big deal, and I was a kid 10,000 years ago. Now I didn't realize Legos that brand is still huge, and they have Lego everything. Everything. It's amazing. And then when I started watching the Lego Marvel stuff, DC stuff, the Lego Batman, and those are hilarious. They're funny. I love them. They're so matter of fun. Like, this brand is so big. I didn't realize they started doing Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
So Frank, you said they had them before, some Lego stuff before.
Yes. So where you could play through the various movies, play through the prequels, play through the original films, and it was great. It's great. You run around. Yeah.
It's so true. Lego does great stuff. The game, I've always heard the games are good, and like even all the specials they do, the holiday special, Lego Star Wars holiday specials,
they're hilarious. They're great.
Very funny. They're smart. Yeah, they're very good.
They're very good. I just thought, and when you step on a Lego with a barefoot, you cry. It brings grown men down on your knees. I've stepped on a Lego, and I seriously wanted to beat every child in the world at Lego. And these little things hurt. They're tiny and they hurt. They always find your flips. I got giant paddle feet, size 14. It's like those things hurt. That's another story, folks. That's another thing. My sister's like, I still love Legos. Yes, and you are old, and you like Legos. You got grandchildren, so you can play with them. But Legos have some beautiful Star Wars stuff, folks. You can build anything just about the Star Wars universe on Legos. But Legos are expensive.
I just saw actually a toy that I kind of really want to buy. That was like a Lego set that was like the Death Star, but like you could build the trench run. Like,
ooh, hey.
Cool. Oh my God, it's like 73,000 pieces or something like that, and I'm like, all right, I know what I'm doing this summer.
Exactly. They always think afterwards, like, where am I going to put it when I'm finished?
Right.
Like, I don't have my house is my size and all, but I mean, I got shit everywhere. I'm like, I can't. Where am I going to put this thing? I don't want to tear it down. So after it took me a whole summer to put together 10,000 pieces of this godforsaken thing. I want to keep it together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's very interesting. But yeah, the Lego, that was very fun. So at April 5th, the order, Fallen Order 2, possible something coming out in May. That's the they're like talking about it. So funny.
Well, if you pre-order the Skywalker Saga Deluxe Edition, you can get yourself a nice little Luke Skywalker drinking blue milk.
Blue milk. That's so funny. Oh my God.
There you go.
Does he have a blue milk mustache on there? Is that?
He does. He's got a little blue milk mustache.
That's so funny. Frank's on the case already.
That's true.
He wasn't kidding, folks. He wasn't kidding.
No way. You get extra characters for The Mandalorian, Rogue One,
oh my God,
Solo, and Star Wars: The Bad Batch. So.
Oh my God, it's so funny. So you get the. Oh my God, it's so funny. Okay, so you so that's available. I think it says on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox.
Yeah. Every gaming platform you could think of, and then some.
Now, I also heard because some of these things. I remember some years ago when podcasts were coming out, and they were doing shows on Xbox, like original programming just for Xbox. Like I remember my friend was involved in a show. They're like, I said, well, where can I see it? It goes on Xbox. I mean, like the gaming system. Like literally, it was like a half-hour show on Xbox. Like that's happening now. And I had a couple of friends who licensed some of their music to one of these PlayStation things. Like it's like this is. So I mean, next time Microwaves will be having shows. And trust me, James, I want you to be first. I'm a podcast and not Microwave.
That should be great. 3 minutes to cook this. I can listen to 3 minutes of the the General Hospital mini spotlight. All right,
exactly, right there. Hey, they got those smart refrigerators and shit now. All that stuff. They have little TVs in them and stuff. I mean, Frank, we can come up with a show. Frank, let's come up with a show. We'll love to them. To Toshiba or whatever, Samsung. Let's sell a show to them.
Alexa, play JLJ Media. So.
Quiet Alexa. Turn my Alexa on.
Great.
She's talking. She's about to play my music. Quiet Alexa. Alexa, quiet.
You're much nicer to your Alexa than I am to mine.
Hello. Shut up, bitch. It's playing my song. Alexa, quiet. My Christmas song.
Like, yeah.
Christmas is over, folks. Thanks, Frank. I can't even heard your voice, Frank. I guess
but always be promoting, James. We got to have that song in the background.
In the background, exactly. That's so funny. I'm like, okay. Anywho, yes. So that's very interesting. One of the things that I want to talk about, the last things I want to talk about, which is really funny, and everybody's laughing at us, of course. Big news: Christopher Lloyd joining Mandalorian 3. So Back to the Future meets Mandalorian. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, kids? I was like, oh, interesting. I was like, okay.
God, I'm like, I'm just trying to decide what kind of character I want him to play. Like, I'm so excited that he's in the show, but like, I'm just so interested to see what he's gonna do. I mean, do we think it's gonna be another like Stephen Root, like very quick appearance, that type of thing?
Thanks, Trejo.
Like Like I almost want him to be some kind of like crazy villain or something, you know? Like I don't know. What
I
do you
can't
guys think?
imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if he feels kind of like a Werner Herzog role from season one,
Mm,
I'd be down for that. So, he kind of, is the overarching kind of thread throughout the season, and we, see him pop up at the beginning, we see him pop up at the end. I'm cool with that. I'm hoping it's more than just what we got from Stephen Root.
right.
You got to give me more than that.
Yeah.
More than Jennifer Beals too.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, he could play somebody from Atlanta because he's always planet hopping. He's on a planet. Maybe he's a general, or maybe he's a president of some planet or something. I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. I mean, if it's only one episode, then I want it to be like a meaty guest star role for that one episode.
I agree.
Yeah.
They haven't said. They haven't. Because I want everybody to know they haven't said how long he's on the season. Just said he's joining the cast of Mandalorian, which could mean anything. That's why we're saying.
Right.
I know he's still alive, so I was like, "Oh, he's still alive?" Okay, I had no idea, so I'm glad to know he's alive. For one, and got work, looking to work.
Yeah.
But think of his age. That's why Frank, I'm thinking of something more regal because unless he plays something very comical.
What is he's like mid-80s now, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
I'll look.
I mean, unless he's tied into anything, with Bo-Katan and Mandalore.
Huh. Interesting.
So
See him being some kind of like very wise elder in whatever tribe, whatever. I hope he has a cool part. I don't want to see him on screen for like 2 minutes and then he's gone. It's like, oh, cool, Christopher Lloyd. I'd love to see him play some kind of impactful part, even if it's only like an episode that he's featured in. I want to see him have more than just like a few lines and show up.
Well,
my God,
I would like to think that the way we feel about Christopher Lloyd is the way like Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau feel about him. So if they're excited, I am assuming they would be as excited as we would be to have Christopher Lloyd want to be on our show. So if that's the case, I think they'd be like, oh, we got to give him something cool to do, right? Yes. So I'm hoping, yes, that they're thinking that same way and we won't be disappointed.
Oh, Christopher Lloyd's 83. But I just found out that his nephew was one of my favorite actors on Scrubs and Cougar Town and Desperate Housewives. He had died 2 years ago of a brain tumor.
Oh, the guy who played the lawyer on Scrubs.
Yes, he played. Yeah, and on Cougar Town, he played some weird character on there when he was there in Hawaii. I didn't realize that was it. That's his nephew.
Oh wow!
It was Sam Lloyd. Never knew that.
No, that was a shame. That actor was well regarded.
He was apparently. Yeah, no, he was. It was really good. But yeah, no, I'm going by. I'm just like he's 83 years old, so I'm going by age. What could possibly he play? I guess some people play dramatic roles, and they're comedian. They play something more dramatic sometimes as they get older. So yes, I mean, but right now there's no information. They're so happy to let us know it's happening. We have no information what's going to happen, and they're just casting news. They're letting us know. That's all they're letting us know. That's it.
Just let us know. Is it going to be 2022 or is it 2023 for Mandalorian? Just tell us that.
2023. I think it's 2023.
Well, we already know we're getting
Andor.
We're getting Obi-Wan Kenobi in May. Andor,
September possibly.
September or so.
September, yes. And they're filming Ahsoka now.
Right. So that would be the next one, you think?
I think it's the next one, The Mandalorian, right?
And then Mandalorian. After Ahsoka, you think?
Well, wait a minute. A Mandalorian came out it was last year.
Yeah.
Like Mandalorian first then probably. Well, it don't matter because Boba Fett, he was on for 2-3 episodes and we got to see him. But they did further the story. I was saying if he hadn't been on a show that's not his name, I'd be thinking to bring it back sooner. But we saw a few episodes of Man. We know what's going on. So maybe it's Ahsoka first and then Mandalorian.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I'm sorry. You go ahead, Frank.
Oh, all I was going to say is from what I was reading is that Pedro Pascal, he has something in his contract where he has to be in 3 episodes of every other Star Wars series. So.
Don't believe Frank, folks. Don't believe him. He's not serious. I was believing for himself. I was like, I'm like, what? No.
Next
surprise.
Yes.
Next week, Mando and Grogu go back in time. to meet Obi-Wan Kenobi
Right.
as he takes on Darth Vader.
If that happened, I would be busting up. Okay, I would be busting up. And all of a sudden, he's an Andor. All of a sudden, he's also in the like, yeah, he's just
Right.
His sidekick just show up everywhere.
That's right. With also that the main character of whatever show he's in has no lines when he shows up in an episode.
I still will not. I know we laughed about it all on the show, but I still am amazed at that episode that he literally had no lines.
Yeah. Power move.
I mean, the lead character of the series had 0 lines. Now, yeah, they're invited that day. I get it. But I'm like, just a nod. The nod that Frank says will win an Emmy.
Yeah.
There you go, Frank. Yep, that's what it is. Frank got it. So you got the nod. There you go. He does say thank you. I'm just amazed by that. And that's how we'll end the show tonight. Thank anybody in the chat room, you guys. Thank anybody in the chat room. We glad you guys were here with us today. This show is my number. Now it's down to number 2 because I have other shows that kind of come out, but it's still a huge hit for us. I know it's crazy.
Get it together, people. Get it together.
It's the Hardys. It's Hallmark Channel. When it comes to Hardys back, they're all tuning in for that now. I know, the Hardys. Hallmark versus Star Wars. I don't know, kids.
Come on, guys. Jack Wagner, he's cool, I know, but
Oh,
is he a bounty hunter? Is he does he have a lightsaber?
A gun, a horse, and a Mountie costume. Yes. Thank you guys for watching us. John, what do you do and where can they find you?
Oh boy, yeah, I do
what do
stuff.
You do? What's going on?
I do stuff. So aside from this, I'm forgetting. Now.
What do I do? Oh my God, what do I do?
Aside from doing this wonderful podcast with you wonderful people, I do another podcast with 2 of my very close friends, Gina and Kyle. We talk about all things Big Brother. We're covering Big Brother Canada season 10 right now. You can find us at BB Jury Duty on Instagram and Twitter. I don't know if we're on Facebook anymore, but if you want to find me, you can find me at JDunn89 on Instagram and also Twitter, but I don't really use Twitter much. So
he sang my song. He sang me a song I wanted.
That's right.
Will you still love me tomorrow?
Carole King.
Yes, it was good. Very good. And Frank Moran, what do you do?
Not much, which has been very clear if you've watched anything that I've been on in JLJ Media. But follow me on Twitter and Instagram for nothing much as well at Happy Go Jackie.
That's right. Happy Go Jackie.
That's my brand. Just nothing much. Nothing much.
I'm James Lott Jr. We're all James Lott Jr. Sorry, James Lott Jr. On TikTok, I did a coffee taste test. So go there to James Lott Jr. and I compare both Starbucks blonde blends. Say that 5 times fast. Miranda and Sunrise. I do a taste test. People ask me to do it, so I did it for you on TikTok. James Lott Jr. Check it out. Which one did I like?
The answer may surprise you.
Exactly. Thank you. So check that out at Jay on there. We'll see you guys next week. But who knows what we're talking about.